What's up, Cowboys Nation? Welcome back to another video. The Dallas Cowboys took down the Tennessee Titans. They beat them 27-13 in Week 17 on Thursday Night Football. Let's talk about it.
Looking down the field, Lamb, 10-5, victory! Touchdown, Ezekiel Elliott. How about the rookie Micah Parsons? What a play!
Defense wins championships, but the Super Bowl is won by the quarterback.
Before we jump in, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe for more Cowboys content. We're going to be here all season long. The Dallas Cowboys traveled down to Tennessee. They take on the Titans. They defeat them 27-13. Now, before we jump up and, flex on this win, there's a lot of things that happened in that first half that we probably need to talk about. We need to discuss. But regardless, they got to win, right? Let's be happy that they won. They're 12-4. So let's talk about the good stuff first. They're 12-4, which matches their win total from last season where they went 12-5. And this is the first time that a Dallas Cowboys team has gone back-to-back seasons with 12-plus wins since the 94-95 season, which is, that's crazy. That's remarkable. To be in conversation with that kind of team, because we all know what that team did. But, yes, also, I'll say this, guys. I predicted this right. I throw out score predictions every single game, hoping, I don't think about it too much, but I put some thought into it. And this one, I got right. I said 27-13 in my pregame prediction video. And honestly, this game was kind of boring towards the second half. I'm not going to lie. This game was super boring. And we'll talk about Prime football a little bit. We'll talk about Amazon Prime. But that last 9 minutes, we're just sitting there and, we're watching the game. And it's more exciting for me to watch it knowing that they just need to hold on to that score for me to be right. And they were. I was super close with the Thanksgiving game, except Brett Maher, you owe me a field goal here. I was off by just a field goal in that New York Giants Thanksgiving game. But guys, we won. We're 12-4. This is happy. Obviously, you look at the other side of things. If the Cowboys lost this game, media would be in a frenzy right now. But the Cowboys tuned it up. They're definitely a second half team, which is a good thing and a bad thing. It's just kind of this trend going on. And I don't want to complain too much on a night where the Cowboys have won. But there are some things that I got to say as an unbiased and realistic Cowboys fan. First off, that first half, these turnovers, man. Okay, let's talk about the elephant in the room. Dak Prescott, that interception to Peyton Hendershot, not his fault. Not his fault. And you guys have heard me speak about Dak Prescott in those interceptions. And I've said that, interceptions are interceptions and turnovers are turnovers, and those put you in a rough spot as a football team. But it's getting to a point where this is just ridiculous. It's bouncing off receivers' hands. No one can make the catch. And it goes back to that whole philosophy that I've been very critical about, that that's why you go out and you buy a good known wide receiver and a tight end. It's not rocket science. That's why you pay good money for a good receiver to catch passes like that. And yes, it's great when you can draft, and obviously a draft pick is not eating too much cap space up as like a premier wide receiver or tight end. I get that. But this is why it matters. And I'm afraid that come crunch time, the Cowboys are going to pay the price. That kind of strategy gets you wins. But when you're in the position to win the biggest moment of the game or win the game itself, you need players that are dependable. And I fear that the Cowboys may not have that. We've seen that way too much time for it to just be coincidence now. It's a trend. It's a red flag. And just like penalties were not just coincidences last year, they were a trend. It showed up in the playoffs in moments that really mattered. And a couple of things are showing up for the Cowboys here that are just not coincidences anymore. They're known trends that are happening. It's turnovers, receivers not catching the ball, defensive pressure not making it happen, not getting to the quarterback as they were at the beginning of the season. And the secondary, it seems like there's always one guy that they're always picking on every single time in our secondary since we lost Anthony Brown and Jordan Lewis. Tonight was not Nashawn Wright, who got an interception, which is awesome. But those are kind of the things that just stood out to me. And the Cowboys won. I don't want to talk about this. I just fear, man. Like, this is a game that you're supposed to go out and win decisively. They did. I mean, that's what I said in my pregame prediction video, that they were 27-13. I didn't think it was going to happen the way that it did, the way that they turned the ball over 3 times. And, people are going to say, well, they held the defense, they held the offense, and Josh Dobbs to, field goals, and the defense did their job. I mean, they're supposed to in a situation like that. If it's Jalen Hurts and the Eagles, then yeah, I'm proud of this defense for keeping us in this game, but come on. Like, the Titans were resting their starters knowing they had a more impactful game next week. And the Cowboys, just went through the motions in the first half. And that's disappointing to see, knowing that this is a playoff team and knowing that we had our starters out there, knowing that momentum is a real thing and we want to keep this thing going into the playoffs. And you go out and you play like that in the first half is just super disappointing. But regardless, we got the win, guys. We're 12-4. But like I said, I'm a little bit scared, a little bit afraid, because I didn't want to bring this up, but I'll just say it because these videos exist as a file for me to go back and remember what I said. Look. The Cowboys obviously have a lot of issues with their secondary, and it's showing up still, even against a couple of backups that the Titans were playing tonight. And they're just not as good as they once were. They weren't as good as they were during that amazing stretch that Cooper Rush was in at quarterback. And my dad was in town here, and we talked about this a little bit because he was, he's a fan from back in the 90s. But this is crazy, guys. If the Cowboys are going to be legitimate champions and they're going to make a serious run at the Super Bowl, let me break down how it's going to go down. They got to take down the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who are not a good football team. I concede to that fact. But they also have Tom Brady. But the Cowboys would have to beat Tom Brady for the first time ever. That's just the wild card round. And then you got to take on the Philadelphia Eagles, your NFC East division rivals, who you split games with, and you never, one team didn't have their starting quarterback, and the second game the other one didn't. So this is a full-on matchup, and they have the best record in the NFL, and they're most likely, hopefully, going to be the number 1 seed, or who knows what happens with that. So now you got to take them on the road, Lincoln Financial Field. And then what I think is going to end up in the NFC Championship is you're probably going to see the San Francisco 49ers and their defense. And we're going to have to see them again. Okay, if we get past the Buccaneers and if we get past the Eagles, then we got to play the 49ers, who, granted, they got Purdy, so it's different than Jimmy G. But then you got to take on Christian McCaffrey, and our rush defense is a little bit suspect. Save the Cowboys win the NFC Championship and they beat all 3 of those teams, well, then you're probably going to have to take on Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs, or Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills. This is just a time for me to be honest, because I'm your unbiased, realistic Cowboys fan. I feel something approaching here. And with the way that the Cowboys are playing and the way that I see it in the playoffs, it's something's coming. And it's sad to say that maybe there's 2 or 3 more games left of the season. I'm sorry I'm catching you off guard here, but I got to be unbiased. I got to be realistic. This is what this game made me think of today. That if we can't dominate and put these teams away by halftime, you got to be critical at this point of the season. It's not week 5 anymore. It's not week 10 anymore. You got to call this team out on things that they should. Because if they're talking Super Bowl and if we're 2 games away from a wild card matchup, you got to be critical of the team and show that, hey, we got to be better than this if we're going to win some good games in the playoffs. But regardless, this was a tricky game just because I don't know what's going to happen with Tyler Biadasz. Every play, I was just on edge, not knowing whether a player was going to get hurt or not. So the only importance to this for me is the NFC East and the number 1 seed, because that is still alive. That whole scenario is still alive. If the Eagles lose out and the Cowboys win out, NFC East champs host a playoff game. That's the only importance of this game tonight, and that makes it a little bit more exciting. But Cowboys win. We're 12-4. I love it. I got to be real with you guys. That's why I went on my little rant there. But like I said, I got the score right. The Cowboys got 2 sacks on the Titans. I thought they were going to get 4. They did get an interception, so I did get that right. Dak Prescott had 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Ezekiel Elliott, 19 rushes for 37 yards. Yikes. It was really tough to get the run game going against this defense. That was something I completely missed. It was underrated what they did. I mean, we only had 87 rushing yards. Just crazy. But regardless, Cowboys win. Comment down below how you feel about this team. Did I just go on a random rant right there? And did you lose me? Or are you kind of feeling the same way? Let me know down below. Comment down below. Be sure to like and subscribe. And shout out to my son. Today was his birthday. I'm glad the Cowboys got the win on your birthday, bud. But I will see you guys later in the week. We get a little mini bye week, so let's rest up and prepare for the last game of the season against the Washington Commanders. I'll see you guys next time. Go Cowboys.
Looking down the field, Lamb, 10, 5, victory! Touchdown, Ezekiel Elliott. How about the rookie Micah Parsons? What a play!
Defense wins championships, but the Super Bowl is won by the quarterback.